a 2 mile run, very quick, easy run, not too many miles. And along the way, I wanted to make this video, this quick vlog about the concept of fear and creativity. And I think it's interesting even having to make this video because artistic endeavors, painting, sculpting, I mean, if you do it safely, clay modeling, drawing, these are probably some of the safest activities anybody can possibly do. And yet, at some level, there is a level of fear, a level of discomfort that can prevent us from trying new things as far as creativity goes. And I'm not talking about, the artist in that's been doing art for 30, 40 years and they've come down to a style and that's all they want to do and that's what they're known for, that's what people want to buy and whatever. Although I do think that they could benefit from expanding and trying new things as well, because who knows what else they could come up with. But there's these two great authors, and I would call them like influencers, doers: Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of Now, and David Goggins, who's written Can't Hurt Me. And both of them might not seem like very similar people to teach about art, but David Goggins, former Navy SEAL, runs ultra marathons, 200-mile races. Eckhart Tolle teaches spiritual practices and things like that. And between the two of them, what I think they have in common that is really helpful for creatives and artists is, and I'm wearing a tank top because I just finished the run, and I felt like this was a good time to get the remaining energy out, is this idea of being conscious of your thoughts. Where Eckhart Tolle, that's a big thesis, that's a big part of his book and his philosophy, is just being conscious of what you're thinking is a very powerful tool as far as spiritual practice goes. And David Goggins, on the same side, becomes, be conscious of your thoughts. Don't let your thoughts be in control of you. So, and I would say that those helped me achieve some goals, such as running a marathon. When I wanted to run a marathon, and this will all tie back into creativity and fear. But before I wanted to run the marathon, I was constantly in my head, as I would do my runs. I was like, oh, I'm not ready for a marathon. It's cold out. I don't want to go run right now. It's, my legs might hurt, or it's dark out, or it's too early out. And I would have all these reasons not to run or not to pursue a race. And I think at the end of the day, if I really, really look below the surface of what those excuses are, or what those excuses were, is fear. And it's not noticeable the same way that terrified fear is, like, when we're out and about in a dangerous situation and we have to overcome that type of fear. But I'm talking about art, like fear in the safest sense of just our minds defending ourselves from pursuing the things that we want to do. And where this ties into creativity and art, where I think it's helpful, if you're watching this video, and the expectation here is that what I'm sharing is going to help you become more creative, is to help you re-spark an extra layer of creativity, is this idea of really being conscious of your thoughts as an artist, of when you're painting, and your mind, and this is stuff that I've had from experience, these thoughts of, when I'm painting, suddenly my mind goes to, oh, I can't do this because I might mess it up, right? And there's an area of like competence, right? So you want to paint a certain way, you want to paint like a ancient classical artist or whatever, then there's a certain skill level, there's a certain technical skill, and the more competence you have, the more confident you'll be, and the less fear you'll probably feel. But at the same time, as far as creativity goes, and not having expectations for yourself as an artist, I think that there is a level of fear, a level of being uncomfortable with uncertainty, not being sure how like a certain color is going to look in a certain area, or maybe not trying a new style or trying a new way of painting simply because you're afraid of what someone might think, or you're afraid of messing up a painting that you want to sell and you're afraid what people think. So I think that's a very pervasive thought. That can be a very pervasive thought if you don't tackle it. And obviously artists who have found success, who have found along their journey and have like overcome these thoughts, and some of them just don't care, and they're incredibly free-spirited artists that do all sorts of wild and interesting abstract work. You know, what is it that they're overcoming? What is preventing others from being more free with their creative work, with their artwork, excuse me, and things like that? And while we probably won't admit it, no one wants to say, "Oh, I'm actually scared to lay these marks down," or I feel uncomfortable because I'm afraid to mess it up. No one really admits that to themselves. They might say something instead like, "Oh, well, I'm not ready for this," or, and these are just me observing my own ideas here. I'm not ready for this. Or if you've ever said something like, "Oh no, this I can't do it this way. It just would look ridiculous," or it might look like a child did it, or something or other. There's some really good artists who are under the age of 18, by the way. That said, just in consideration of this idea of of fear when it comes to creativity, and being conscious of your thoughts, your ideas, the things that are popping in your head as you're working. And if you feel like it's stopping you, if you feel like your thoughts are giving you excuses not to be more creative, or not to try new things, or experiment with new brushwork, or whatever it is, if you feel like your thoughts are stopping you in some way, consider that maybe it was fear. And I picked this up both from the David Goggins book Can't Hurt Me and Eckhart Tolle's book The Power of Now. This idea of being conscious and aware of the thoughts in your head. I mean, we all have thoughts, but it's one thing to, just let them go through our minds. That's, part of meditation, but it's another to really observe them, almost like a third person, just observing your thoughts. It's a really interesting activity. And if you have the opportunity to do that and like really start to turn the thoughts around in your head, and figure out where they're coming from, what they're doing, I think it can help a lot of people unleash a level of creativity that they didn't have before. So that's a quick vlog about creativity in art, and fear and creativity, and what I learned from the books Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins and The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So wish you a very creative year and have a wonderful rest of your 2023.